Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top of All Cricket Podcast. I am your host, Kevin Henry, and as usual, we are talking everything West Indies cricket. Now, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and most importantly, comment. Let's talk about it down in the comments. If you do agree with what I'm saying, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, let me hear what you have to say down in the comments. If you have any questions, leave them down there, and I'll willingly answer them. Well, what a day we had yesterday in the final round of the West Indies Championship, Day 2, where the CCC are doing battle with Guyana over at the Frank Worrell Stadium. The Leeward Islands are taking on the Windward Islands at the Queen's Park Oval. Barbados are doing battle with the West Indies Academy over at the Coolidge Cricket Ground, and Trinidad and Tobago are locking horns with the Jamaica Scorpions over at Sabina Park. So let's start out with the most impressive thing that I saw yesterday. Let's start out with the good. And I have a couple of questions. Who really is Avinash Mahabir Singh? How come it has taken him 7 rounds to get into the CCC side? This is his debut. The first day of play was his birthday. And how is it that the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force missed this little gem? I'm trying to figure it out. Because this young man yesterday had Guyana in all kinds of problems, to the point where he picked up 8 for 57. It's been a while since I've seen off-spin where this amount of control was exhibited. For someone playing in their first match, it was a really, really, really pleasant surprise. The patience, the guile, the turn, the bounce, he had it all yesterday. And we rarely had an answer for him. The 2 players that looked really good against him, they both gave their wickets away. Kevin Sinclair. And as I've said before, Kevin Sinclair, I think, presently, in this moment, is the best batsman in West Indies cricket. I will continue to say that. I will die on that hill. All right? I've yet to see a bowler trouble Kevin Sinclair. Yesterday, he looked so good, so at ease. While everyone else was struggling, he looked at ease. He was stroking the ball really well, finding the middle of the bat from the minute he got out. 37 off of 37. It was like he was playing a one-day game and got too confident and chased the ball that he had no business chasing. And that has been part of his story this season. Because other than the 165 not out, and the 2 scores of over 70, it has been interspersed with a whole bunch of 20s, 30s, and 40s. And that part of it I find a bit disappointing, because no one can really prevent him from scoring. No one can trouble him. Bowling in the first class cricket in the West Indies is easy day for Kevin Sinclair. And he came up yesterday against a young man who was on his game. And while he looked comfortable against the young man, he ended up giving his wicket away. So that is something that Sinclair has to work on. Once you get to 25, 30, 35, 40, that's the foundation. And you have to see it through. And I think that is part of the problem why Guyana crumbled so easily after beginning the day at 114 for 1. That's a great position to be in. They were in pole position to bat for at least a day and a half, put this team under pressure, and bowl them out quickly. All they needed to do was bat once. That's all they needed to do. But what I saw was a Guyana team that came out and they looked lethargic. They looked like they were lacking a clear plan on how they were going to build an innings and then get the CCC back in. Now they have to pretty much depend on results going their way in the other matches. As it stands right now, they would have just picked up another wicket. The CCC batting a second time on 179 for 9, which means 174 for 9, sorry, which means as it stands right now, if we were to pick up another wicket, we would have to make 152. So things are still in their favor. But what's killing Guyana is not picking up those bonus points that are that are available to them. That is what has killed Guyana all season long. So let's see how this goes. I think they kind of messed it up yesterday, on the second day when they came out and they didn't have a proper plan, especially against young Mahabir Singh on debut. He gave himself the best birthday gift. I'm still trying to figure out how Trinidad missed it. I'm still trying to figure out how it took the CCC until the very last round of matches to figure out, hey, this guy needs a game. Let's take a chance on him. I don't know what the conversations were surrounding his selection, right? But just in terms of first-class cricket, I think this was just as big as Shamar's performance against Australia. Even though this is in the backyards of cricket right now, this is a really, really big performance because this young man bowled really, really well yesterday. You have to take your hat off for him. All right. So over the Queen's Park Oval, the Leeward Islands are doing what they're supposed to do. They're holding up their end of the bargain. They're currently 4th in the standings and they're holding up their end of the bargain. They've put the Windward Islands under pressure. And once again, the Windward Islands, after having a phenomenal first 3 rounds, they're just scraping by. And it is showing now because they're at the top of the table based on the bonus points that they've been able to pick up, which is the difference between them and Guyana, right? But they haven't played well over the past 4 rounds, and the Leeward Islands have them under pressure right now. The Leeward Islands are doing what they're supposed to do to ensure that they put themselves with a chance of winning the title. Last I checked, the Leeward Islands were 111 for 2, I think it was. The 2 batsmen gone. That was at the close of play yesterday. Mikhail Louis for 33, ending the season with 682 runs. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal performance this season. And his name will have to be in the pool when we're talking about going to England. His name has to be in the pool. It doesn't matter that this is his first season of first-class cricket. Let's take a look at his body of work and how he has accumulated those runs. Let's look at his confidence level. Let's look at his assuredness at the crease. Let's not worry about, oh, this is his first season. It's the bigger picture that you have to look at here. All right? The other batsman to go was Kyron Powell. He made 31. But Leeward Islands are doing what they're supposed to do. That is all you can do. And I felt Guyana didn't do enough of that yesterday, especially when we were batting. In the Barbados versus West Indies A game, that's a scrap. That is a scrap right now. And the West Indies Academy are giving the Barbados Pride a run for their money. After bowling out Barbados for 153, they racked up 243 for a 90-run lead. And what I've noticed in this season is the lower order of almost all the teams have been doing the bulk of the scoring. And it's kind of worrying to see throughout the region, our top order batsmen, with the acceptance of just a few, are not doing what they're supposed to do. which is the reason right now Tajan Chanderpaul might end up still going to England, because no other opening batsman other than Craig Brathwaite and Mikhail Louis have put their hands up and said, hey, I'm going to make this difficult for Tajan Chanderpaul. I'm going to make this really, really difficult for Desmond Haynes and Andre Coley to say, hey, let's take Tage to England instead of me. Kyron Powell, Solozano, Zachary McCaskey. None of these guys have done what they're supposed to do, which is make tons and tons of runs. All these players have had a taste of international cricket before, and they're leaving a lot to be desired. Tage Chanderpaul said, here, take my spot. And no one really, other than Mikhail Louis, the new guy on the block, no one said, oh, you're offering it up? I'll take it. And that is worrying. All right. Most of the top orders across the teams have failed to give their teams a proper foundation. And the teams are ended up being propped up by the lower middle order and the guys coming down at the bottom. I don't want to call them tail enders because everybody's a batsman, right? And yesterday, the West Indies Academy side, you had McKenny Clark and Johan Lane doing the work of the top order, and they batted really well. They're not given the fact that they're two fast bowlers, big strapping fast bowlers, but they're two pretty good batsmen, which tells me that there is something good happening at the academy level, but these players are just not putting it together. All right. Over at the Sabina Park, Trinidad racked up 432, and Jamaica wore, I think, 152 for 9 or something of the sort. Mr. Kirk McKenzie finally made an entrance this season. He made 57. He top scored with 57. But once again, as I've said before, I would really like to know what is going on with Jamaica's cricket. What is going on with Jamaica's cricket? This is a very, very weak side. They've won a couple of matches, even in those matches, I think they've punched above their weight. They've been helped out by some teams. So from an administrative standpoint and from a West Indies standpoint, I really would like to know what is going on with Jamaica's cricket, because West Indies cricket can only be healthy, really and truly healthy, if we have a healthy Jamaica. It can only be truly healthy if we have a healthy Trinidad Red Force. It can only be healthy if we have a healthy Barbados Pride, Guyana Harpy Eagles, Windward Islands Volcanoes, Leeward Island Hurricanes, the CCC. I personally think there's a number of players that should have been in the CCC side that are not there right now. This team could have been performing better had some players from some other territories been added to it. I'm not too sure why there's the heavy Bajan influence. Nothing against these players, right? I just don't think some of them are up for it. I just don't think some of them are first class ready. And I know there's some other players who are first class ready and they're not there. So today is another pivotal day. Guyana right now has the CCC won 177 for 9. I'm watching that game right now. And I really hope that they can close it out early today, because with the prospects of rain tomorrow, that would affect that possibly affect the Leeward Islands versus Windward Islands game also. So Guyana needs to wrap this game up today. If they want to win this tournament, they need to wrap this game up today. I doubt unless something really, really drastic happens, I doubt the Windward Island Volcanoes versus Leeward Islands game can be finished up today. It's going to be a ding-dong battle between Barbados and the West Indies A. I know the West Indies Academy side are not going to lay down and just hand this title to Barbados, especially after they would have won the first inning. So everything favors Guyana right now. They just need to do what they need to do, which is handle business. So hats off to young Mahabir Singh. Well done to the West Indies Academy for putting up a good old fight against an experienced Barbados side. Big ups to Mikhail Louis once again for doing what you're supposed to do. Every chance you get, come out and score runs. Score heavily. Put the ball in the court of the selectors. Do your business and say, it's up to you now. And that's what he has done. All right? So, I am your host, Kevin Henry. This is the Top of All Cricket podcast with a review of the second day's play. Don't forget, you can watch these matches on YouTube, on the West Indies YouTube channel. Also, subscribe, like, share, and most importantly, jump in the comments. Catch you later.